Okay, so hello, beautiful. How are you? I, of course, am jumping on here with the messages, the guidance, the everything that I'm experiencing and that God is giving me. I like that. So, I want to talk about manipulation. And this first starts with a story about my daughter. I've been noticing as she's been coming more into her personality and herself. We all know how that is if you're a parent. Um, she has really been like trying to find ways to do things to get what she wants. And because I love on her so much and I just want her to always experience love, even if she's upset after she gets in trouble, I'll still give her love. But I'll still let her know like what you did was not okay. But I don't ever want her to feel like because she's in trouble that she doesn't get any love. However, she is very dramatic and over the top. And she is very sneaky and sly and strategic, which is, it really baffles me. Like, how are you this at this age already? Okay. But she does this thing where, like, she'll throw, like, she'll try to convince you to give her what she wants. So at first, she'll keep asking, not asking, she'll keep going to it and going to it. And you'll keep telling her no, no, no. I said no. I said no. Then after a certain point in time, she'll start crying. And she'll come to you, try to love on you, like and you for you to give her love and her to love on you. And then she thinks like, okay, now we're back in good graces, so let me go back and try to do the same thing. And I said, no, you still cannot do that. But then she throws a tantrum, throws herself out, starts wailing and kicking. But she always there are some moments where she'll like hurt herself because she's trying to throw the biggest tantrum. But there are certain moments where like she's realized after hitting her head so many times. So she'll tantrum, but then when it comes to like throwing her head back, she'll slowly put her head back like that onto the floor and then start like okay child, like I know you're doing this on purpose and you're just trying to get me to give in to do what you want. And it just kept making me think about manipulation. And I'm like, dang, like she's so young, like, and she's already using tactics like this. And it just really connected me to how, like, many people see in manipulation as a bad thing, but really it's not always really a bad thing. And it just has a lot of connotation, negative connotations to it. And if this little being, pure and innocent as she is, has already at the age of 2 discovered manipulation, and she's not even having even been of this world for that long and not even have full interactions with other children to learn these tactics, and she definitely don't learn it from me like that. So it's like, regardless, even if she did learn it from me, whatever, um she's innocent, and it's the pure intention and innocence in her act of manipulation. And it allowed me to see the other side of manipulation and like, okay, wow, like there's an other side of this, and there is an innocence and a pure heartedness that also goes hand in hand with manipulation. And it just shows like the duality of it, like there's a shadow side and there's a light side to it. And randomly, I happen, no, not randomly, I was watching something by Orrin Harris, and he was saying like to you need to take the time to discover your blueprint, like your your unique blueprint of yourself, and get to know yourself better. And so that led me into looking up like my human design thing. And so as I looked that up, I it was very confusing, but like that type of thing, I like to like if I really dive deep into it, like I can figure it out. And it also ignites like that Sagittarius part of me, like the challenge and finding out something new, the knowledge and discovering things. But um tangent. Yeah, human design. So I was figuring out what everything means and stuff like that. And I pretty much found out like I am truly sensitive and I truly absorb a lot of the outside world. And at first I started to see how bad that was. I I I truly absorb the outside world and I truly absorb what is around me. And I was just like, wow, okay, like it made me really invested in like I need to really be better in cultivating my environment and I need to really be diligent as I move back into the world per se about who is around me because of how impressionable I am and I didn't understand that. But on the flip, and I was really focusing on the like the bad part about it, about being so open. And a lot of my sections in my design were undefined. And only two of them were defined. And I'm like, well, dang, like only two parts of me are specific, like are defined, and everything else is just open and impressionable. Like, dang, do I even have an essence of myself? But that does really correlate with the essence of myself in how free and how open I am. I am truly, genuinely a free and open person. And I was like, okay, wow, like that actually makes a lot of sense and why like I'm so open minded and I can be so like open with people and things that a lot of other people would judge them for or would feel whatever way, whatever judgment about it. I will be like more on the, oh, I'm curious, that piques my interest. Let me learn about that first before I have like an opinion about it to say, or yeah, pretty much that. And so, yeah, in learning that, there was a specific highlighted, I think it's the gene key, a gate 26 or something like that. And so I started to like really research into these gates or whatever. And then the 26, I guess, is my ruling gate or the main gate. And it there was a thing I was reading and it was like they call this gate like the sleazy car salesman. And it's almost like a it's like this aspect of using manipulation to get what you want and constantly like badgering and badgering and badgering a person to manipulate them into giving you what you are wanting and what you are desiring and what you're asking of them and doing it until you get it. And that really off put me of like, why is that my main why is that my main thing? Like I'm not a manipulative person. I first went into denial. Like, I'm not a manipulative person. I don't do that. I don't make an effort to try to push people. I feel I'm very open. I'm very nurturing. I'm very respectful. Like, how could that define me? And that's, of course, just my ego being hurt. But then also, like, trying to tell myself that I'm a good person. But earlier, a couple months back, or a month back, I don't know, I posted about my imposter syndrome. And so like this the whole gate thing, I researched that and stuff like that. And then I had some days where I was just like meddling and marinating in it, and spirit was talking to me about it, and my ego was processing it and trying to wrap my mind around how I could be this manipulative person. And if I'm really doing that to people in my everyday life, and I'm just trying to figure it out, like, what the heck, like, do I really do this? Am I really that? Like, have I been doing this all along? But in reality, from what I can say, I haven't. It's been a while since I've been around like a lot of people to be able to even be manipulative, um, per se. But my discovery, spirit really was like showing me the aspect of duality and how there's always a shadow and a light side. There's always a shadow and a light side, and you have to grasp your mind around the concept. And just because there's a shadow side to something does not mean that that's bad. It's just the opposite, the polarity of it. And your experience is meant to be in experiencing the shadow aspects of light, because a lot of us, a lot of our souls came here to specifically just experience, well, all of our souls actually came here to experience the shadow, the darkness, the opposite of light, to see what it feels like to have that experience. And so to show me that this is the root of your imposter syndrome. I have many thoughts around like manipulation, and it's initial thoughts of my ego, but because of how traumatized I was, it really sent me into a state of overanalyzation. So everything that I experience in my mind that comes up that my ego wants to do or say, I really deeply analyze it for the good and for the bad. And so a lot of initial things that come up are manipulative. And that is why the imposter syndrome really eats away at me, is because those initial thoughts that I have are reflective of that. So my imposter syndrome is coming from the shadow side that I embody of this gate 26, the the manipulative sleazy car salesman. That is a shadow attribute that exists in me. It's there, and I'm very aware of it, but I was not aware of it, if that makes sense. And so because I know because I know of the initial thoughts and reactions that my ego is having, that puts me in a state of like thinking I'm something that I'm not. So on the inside, I feel like the sleazy car salesman, but because of the initial thoughts and feelings that come up, but because of my overanalyzation and my cultivation of self and healing, and also due to my trauma, none of that aspect comes out. Now, in some instances, it probably can, because I am in no way perfect and things can slide through. And sometimes I may feel and act on things initially without analyzing. But for the most part, my baseline is overanalyzation. And so I'm feeling on this way because of I literally embody that shadow aspect. But I don't allow like I don't allow that to be at the forefront and I don't navigate from that place. I don't embrace that wholeheartedly and intentionally go out to manipulate and connive and be sleazy towards people. And that's because of my experience. But before I start rambling, that was the biggest thing for me. It's like, wow, Spirit, okay, this makes sense. Like, there are two sides to manipulation, and there is a light side to manipulation. Like, I don't view my daughter as evil or bad or negative because she's using manipulative tactics to get what she wants. That just doesn't make sense to me. Um, but also allowing myself to fully come into more acceptance of self and understanding myself better, and to be able to maneuver even more in my power because I know and understand this shadow side of this aspect, which has been kind of haunting me because I didn't fully understand it. But now that I have the knowledge about it and understand it, I know, like, okay, wow, this is a part that is existing in me and it's a major part of me. And so now it makes sense why I so deeply feel the feelings that I feel around being an imposter, and that I'm this one way, but I'm not that way. And to also give thanks to my trauma, my experiences, for shaping my overanalyzation to put me in a state of never acting from that place of manipulation. Because apparently it's like supposed to be secondhand easy. Like, you can just do it. Like, if you have that gate and it's like your main source from where you operate from, you can easily tap into like manipulating people at your will because you're so good at it. But I've had thoughts. Who doesn't? Um, Maybe in the past I have done something to do that, like do it in that way to get something I want. But for the most part, in most of my life that I do remember, I don't ever recall being using this tactic and trait to towards people and being malicious in that way. And that also makes sense why I be feeling like sometimes that I'm evil. It's mostly my initial thoughts that I have. My initial thoughts that I have before I analyze them, before they actually come out of my mouth and come out into the reality that people experience. There are a lot of things that come up and it's just like, why am I thinking that? Why is that this? Why is that here? Yada yada. So I end up believing those aspects of myself. And I guess it is true. It is a part of myself, but the key part of it is not acting on it. Being in acceptance of the shadow side of self. Being in acceptance of the not so hot, not so great, not so light and bright things of self. And I just feel like I have a newfound acceptance that a main place where I move from is in manipulation. But for so long, I have overanalyzed myself into not acting on the shadow aspect of that. How beautiful. And if this sounds confusing, I'm sorry, but this was like a revelation for me. And it makes so much sense. And it just allows me to just really be more in my power, but also to just really understand myself better. And like, I know, I feel like I feel like the way I operate now is like so new, so fresh, so vibrant. Like I understand myself better. And the only thing that it's doing is not making me sad. In one point I was, but it's empowering me and it's allowing me to fully integrate and accept that shadow side of manipulation. So the encouragement is to discover self, keep cultivating, keep outside of just like healing self. Take the time to discover self, who you are really, what makes you you, and to also be in a full acceptance of your light and your shadow. The things that may not look pretty, the things that would hurt people and like make them whatever. Let's just say the things that will hurt people versus the things that you can cultivate to really help people. You must accept both sides. And I really feel like I am really finally like in this place of really merging them in, oh, allowing myself to be in full existence of harmony, balance, and duality. And like it's like I'm truly feeling myself starting to reach the point of having the full human experience that my soul has wanted to have. Experiencing all my lows and experiencing all my highs, all in this vessel, all in one thing, and holding them both. Like, what more could you ask for? This is literally what so many of us ask for. That's all I have to share for you. Thank you so much for listening. I appreciate you. You are so loved. And I thank you for giving your time, energy, and space. Thank you so much.